How's it going, everybody? Fernando, the Lonestar Halo, Todd, Mr. Foxy Fox. We are here to talk about how good things are in the hood or how bad they are in the hood, because everyone knows that's where we really are. All that and more coming up next.
1, 2, 3, go! From Texas to Anaheim, we're bringing the heat. Todd and Fernando got the news every week. Walk-offs, strikeouts, who's making a name? Who's in the clutch and who's taking the blame? Lonestar Halo, fucking baseball, here we go. Big hats, bad calls, who's gonna rise and who's gonna fall?
Yes, you are tuned in here to the Lonestar Halo Podcast. This is your home for in-depth LA Angels coverage with me and, of course, Mr. Fox. Every episode, we break down the latest of all the series or whatever the hell we're going to talk about that this week. Right now, we are going to talk about the Tiger series. We're going to preview the Blue Jay series. We're going to get into all that. We're going to get into, is this season over? Are the Angels cooked? Is there a fork in them already? And May just started, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, we're also proudly sponsored by Brewheim Brewery. Drink local, cheer louder. The OC Dugout, your home for premium sports memorabilia. 714 tickets. Or Todd, do the jingle.
714 tickets. 714 tickets.
Yep, the best deals for Angels tickets because there's no fees like the other guys. The price you see, well, that's the price you're going to pay. Actually, you know what? It's not. Why? Because you can use code HITI to save a little bit more. But like I said, the price you see is the price you pay. You're getting a discount off of that. Not getting a discount off of the price after they add $15 to it. And then it's like, oh, actually, no, this is the price. No, just take 10% off. Everyone loves that. So use code HITI, HITI, and all those sponsored links. Mention Halos in the Infield of Brewheim. Use the HITI code of 71 for tickets. Also, Underdog Sportsbook. Maybe a little later, Todd can play the jingle for that. Make sure you subscribe. Give us a 5-star review. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you want us to talk about next. All right. So all that is done. The blurb is done, Todd. What the hell is going on with the Angels, man? I mean, 4 years. We've been doing this show for 4 years. Now, we've been longtime Angels fans. I've been an Angels fan. You know what I mean? We've been fans forever.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Dude, I wish I had the answers right now because every time a game goes by, a series goes by, it just feels like, you can point to one part, but then another part pops up. It's sort of like another hole generating in that life raft of yours. You plug one hole, another one hole pops out, and then you're able to see more holes, and then you're underwater. And I don't want to get to underwater yet, Fernando. It's too early in the season for me to be giving up hope. But it's kind of hard when you're sitting there 13-20 when you expect it a little bit better. We're not exactly hoping and wishing and thinking that this team was going to be like 22-10 or something. But we did figure that they'd be around 500 and competing a lot more.
Yeah, I think the best way to describe the Angels right now in May, early on in May. So, for any of you SpongeBob viewers, there was an episode where SpongeBob and Patrick were trying to get with the Flying Dutchman's pirate ship. And SpongeBob kept yelling, "You're good, you're good, you're good." And meanwhile, the whole of the boat is like scraping against the rock on the way out. And like half of the boat was gone, half of it was messed up. There was holes everywhere. And then SpongeBob said, "Don't worry, Captain. We'll buff out those scratches." And that is the best way to describe the Angels situation right now. Ron Washington is going up to Artie saying, "Don't worry, Captain. We'll buff out those scratches." But like half of the roster is already missing.
Yeah, and then what I was talking about on the post game the other day, it's like they're bringing up pitchers, they're sending them back down, which are the young ones. We're getting Tukey Toussaint's of the world and bringing pitchers up that were on the scrap heap on most other clubs. We didn't do our due diligence like Rob brought out, who's a part of this network, in getting guys like Daniel Robertson, veteran pitchers that were out there, Joe Kelly, other guys like that could have helped this bullpen immensely, and if they would have took away, if you think about it, Fernando, if they would have done moves like that, you wouldn't have all this inexperience and then the movement of the bullpen messing things up. Yeah, they still would not be scoring runs at this point, but games wouldn't be getting out of hand as much as well, because that's also throwing salt on the wound. Starters will give you 6. I think they're up there in the top 5 in quality starts as far as the team's concerned. It's just once they get into that bullpen, it becomes a mess.
Do you happen to know how many runs the Tigers scored that series?
I will get that for you right now.
I believe it was 34.
Okay.
I believe it was 34. Please quote me if I'm wrong. Let me know down in the comments if I'm wrong. But I believe it was 34. That was just quick math, right? 10 plus 9 plus 2 plus 13.
Something like that.
So
I'll double check on that right now.
Yeah. So please interrupt me as soon as you got it. But yeah, either way, they were definitely in the 30s. Like I said,
37.
Oh, okay. Okay, there you go. So any time that you are facing a team, now I get it. These are the Detroit Tigers of modern baseball, right? This isn't the Detroit Tigers of like 5 years ago where they were just bad. This is a good Tigers team, right? They proved last year that it wasn't a fluke that they got into the dance. They got into the dance, and then they made some noise, right? And they had an outright chance of making the World Series last year. A lot of people believe that they should have made the World Series last year. So with that being said, the Detroit Tigers are proving that it wasn't a fluke. They have great pitching, and we saw that this series. But you can't give up more than 30 runs. That's crazy.
37-8, Fernando.
There
To
you go.
8. I mean, it sounds like they had a 37-0 lead in the fourth quarter, and we brought in our quarterback, and they got a touchdown and got a 2-point conversion just to make it not look so bad. I mean, outside of the game that, again, we talked about it off air, the only game that we felt that, or I felt that, man, we're kind of in trouble. I'm one of those guys that likes Kowanowitz. I'm kind of in the minority, but I really thought that Hendricks was going to get beat up on Saturday. And for him to pitch the way he did, the bullpen pitched good, and they got timely hits when they needed them. That was probably one of their best complete games all around all year. And the other 3 games were just curb stompings, dude.
Well, let's give Jose Soriano his flowers for Friday.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
He went toe-to-toe with Tarek Skubal, and most people will admit Tarek Skubal is probably the best left-handed young pitcher in Major League Baseball right now. Because when you think about the future of this game in terms of pitching, you think Paul Skeens, you think Tarek Skubal. So with that being said, Skubal is at that level, and Jose Soriano went blow for blow with him. In case you missed the game, and consider yourself lucky if you did. 6 innings pitched, 6 hits, no runs, none of them earned, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. So kept the ball in the park clearly. Because he didn't give up a run. Kept the ball in the strike zone. That's a big thing. I like that he didn't overpower anybody with strikeouts because, I don't think Jose Soriano needs to be this light him up and knock him down type of pitcher. You know what I mean? He has been known to get these ground balls. He's more of a ground ball pitcher than he is a power pitcher. But he also has the ability to pump it near triple digits. We've seen Soriano get it up there. So that's a bit of a relief. I think a lot of us were starting to get a little worried about Soriano. I'm certain it wasn't waving, the red flag on him. Hey, I'm super, super worried. But he's been very inconsistent this year, unfortunately.
Yeah, he has. But for the most part, I mean, when his sinkers are down and he's able to place that fastball, get the corners, man, he's a different pitcher. And like you said, he went toe-to-toe. And, it was back-to-back nights that a pitcher gave a quality start for the Halos, and the bullpen just got blown to hell. In that game, it was the fact that, the night before it was Reed Detmers on Friday, coupled with Zephyr John not able to keep that game, at 4-2. And then you had the annihilation the next night, like what we were talking about. It's 1-1, after, Johnson comes in there and allows a home run. Then all hell breaks loose. I mean, you bring in a closer in a tie game, and he winds up giving him 3 home runs and 6 earned in that ninth inning frame. So,
what's your opinion right now on this bullpen as a whole? So, Brock Burke has been struggling a bit. I get it. He's kind of your high leverage lefty, but right now his ERA is near the 5s. Zephyr John is, near the 4.5s. Detmers, man, his ERA is sky high. A guy who had been doing pretty decent in just eating innings for you. There was a time, maybe last week even, where he was in the 2s. And as of Thursday's game, when he gave up those 4 earned runs, his ERA was up to 8.16. And I get it. He's still, how many innings does he have pitched on this season? 14 innings. So obviously, because it's a low innings pitch, your ERA is going to be a little wonky because of that. So I'll give him a little bit of a leeway there. But he's got 11 games under his belt, man. I don't think Reed Detmers has it this year.
Yeah, I mean, right now, like in that game against the Mariners, where he got lit up there and didn't get it out, I don't think. And then he did the same thing in Anaheim. Yeah, it went from a 2 point something or rather, like you said, up to almost a 9. The bullpen itself, like I like Johnson's moxie. I know he made a mistake the other night, but I mean, he's been on fire since opening day when he got lit up. And then Zephyr John, I like a lot. Although like he is, he's either really hot or he has like a little miscue here and there. But that's part of these young pitchers. So I like those two. And I think Fermin at some point will turn into another good, righty out of the pen, but he's been tattooed a few times here because I think he's up here too early. And then, like you said, Brock Burke, I do like what he's got, but he's been a little inconsistent. And this is the lumps you're going to get with a young, inexperienced bullpen. And this is the problem that they did not address or overlooked in general. And I think that's what they're suffering the abuse right now. And the only way you can remedy this is you got to get a bigger lead because your starters are giving you every opportunity to pile on runs to jump out to a 4-0, a 5-0 lead, but you're not getting any runs. So when the bullpen does struggle, it's not turning into like, hey, we scored 7 and it's 7-3, the starter left. And then they blow it, and it's 7-6 or 7-7. You still have an opportunity to win the game. Whereas now it's like, oh, you're up 2-0. They give up 5 runs, game over. You don't have any faith in that hitting to get you back in the game or to tie it up.
Look, now there's a couple guys that you mentioned there who are still so young in their careers that I'm okay with them taking bumps. For instance, Ryan Johnson. The kid's going to get lit up here and there, but you know what? I can live with that. This guy's a 22-year-old kid. Didn't get a single opportunity in the minors to develop. So,
Yep.
And he had a great spring. Honestly, when they said he earned the job out of spring, I wasn't upset about it. But with all that being said, there are a couple of these guys, Zephyr John, I already said Ryan Johnson. I'm okay with them taking their bumps. But, now that we're tracking guys up there like Tuki Toussaint and Jose Furman and hell, even Michael Darrell Hicks, it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah, there's plenty of pitchers that are still out there, that the Angels could take a flyer on. And
I
to
swear
me,
to God, don't say Trevor Bauer.
No. I'm over that whole Trevor Bauer thing. It's not cool. But there's pitchers that you can get, and that would make a serious they would make a serious difference in this rotation, or not in the rotation, but in the
Bullpen.
in the bullpen. But the Angels just refuse to do stuff like that, and it's like sort of like they're capped out anyway. So I don't think that they're going to make any kind of move anytime soon. But still, I mean, it's just not fair because we are going with these really, really, really inexperienced guys. It's like, what do you expect? the whole trial by fire only works in certain sports. It doesn't really work in baseball to me because it's all about the right kind of moxie, confidence. And if a pitcher doesn't have either one of those, that's not even, because all these guys are here because they have talent. But if you don't have the headspace, if you're not able to turn the page, like Social used to say, forget about what happened last night. Let's focus in on tonight. You got to forget about how bad the performance is, get them tomorrow. A lot of pitchers, it takes time to get that. It takes time to realize that and to develop certain traits to help you improve your game. And for you just to be thrown out there against one of the hottest teams in baseball and expect everything to be roses, we're seeing exactly what the consequences of that are. So did we not learn our lesson last year, Fernando, or the year before that, or the year before that?
How long have you been watching Angels baseball? I mean, sarcastically, man. I mean, yeah, that's the thing, right? I don't think this organization's ever learning, unfortunately. And I mean, you can see it even in like the coaching staff they keep hiring. It seems like they keep hiring the same version of the previous coach.
Yep.
They all say the right things, but it feels like every single time push comes to shove, it's like the same teams going out there. Mm-hmm. There's no like progress here. Look, a bad loss is going to happen, right? It's an 162 game season.
Oh yeah.
Even the team up to 5, right? They're widely regarded as the best team in baseball year in and year out, unfortunately. And they're going to get blown out here and there. Didn't they get their cheeks clapped like a couple weeks ago by, was it like the Rockies or whatever?
Yeah. When they're not playing Miami every other night, they have a chance to get beat. So yeah, I mean, the Dodgers lose games here and there. It's like, I get it. Every good team is going to have these losses where you lose 13-1. But look, when you're giving up over 30 runs in the span of 4 games, that's a red flag. That's a big deal. And it's funny because you and I just talked. We've admitted sometimes we just chit chat during the day. You're working, I'm working, and we'll just talk baseball just off the record for fun. And we had both said, like, we're not coming for why am I blanking? Is it Barry Enright? Yeah.
You know what? Actually, funny enough, I think Barry Enright is the job who should be safe right now. I'm not willing to throw the towel in on him yet. I understand this pitching staff did terrible against the Tigers. They really haven't done amazing even over the last 2 weeks. But there's at least enough done there where I've seen Barry try to get the pitchers to adjust enough that I'm not willing to give up on that one yet. Johnny Washington, I'm out. I'm out. You know what, man? It's bad when some of the other podcasts are like, oh, Ron Washington, I'm out. Johnny Washington, I'm out. I mean, you've been saying that on the postgame show forever.
Yeah, I mean, certain podcasts are starting to finally come around and see the light that not everything's, they've been busy polishing the turd. And so they finally realized that they ran out of paint and it's starting to smell. And so they're finally whiffing what we've been smelling out for a long time. I mean, look at last year, bro. All these quality starts that the Angels were putting up. And what was part of the problem last year? Bullpen. And the bullpen and the hitting was a little bit better last year, but a lot of games were blown because, again, they stopped scoring towards the end of the year because they had injuries, not because the talent's there and they were striking out so much, but injuries really, keyed them up last year. And then also the bullpen was bad, especially towards the end. But let me read you these numbers, bro. After that, the Tampa series, right from the Texas two-step to where we are currently, we lost to Houston 14-3. We beat Houston 4-1.
Wait.
Yeah. What happened? Go again. Press it. There you go. So this is after the Tampa Bay series. Houston 14-3 winners over us. We lost 4-1, or we beat them Houston 4-1. We lost 7-3, lost 4-0, lost 3-1, lost 5-3 to Texas. won 2-0, lost 3-2, won 5-4 over the Giants, lost 9-3 to the Pirates, lost 3-0, and won 4-3. Then we got swept by Minnesota 11-4, 5-1, 5-0, swept by Seattle 5-3, 9-3, 10-4, and lost to Detroit 9-1, beat Detroit 5-2, and lost to Detroit 13.
Yeah, see, it's crazy because, like,
Bro.
I know they're on a skid. Like,
Well,
we know.
One more thing.
Yeah, of course.
They're minus 64 in run differential already.
That's terrible. Look, I knew that it was bad, because it's like when you're going through it, you know what I mean? Like, you look at your phone and you're like, oh, we lost another one. Oh, we lost another one. But when you actually reflect on, like, 2 weeks, even the 3 weeks almost that it's been, it's like, what the hell happened? I remember this team about a month ago now coming into Arlington. I was here for game 1. It was Jackie Robinson Day. Mm-hmm. The Angels were the best team in the division in terms of run differential. They were the only team at that point that had a positive run differential. They were in first place, and I get it. It was still early in the season. But they were playing good baseball, right? They were playing competitive baseball. They were playing situational baseball. The starting pitching was keeping them in there. The bullpen was doing just enough to give the offense an opportunity to win a game late. They were making the timely hits. And what was it that we kept saying, Todd? We kept saying, hey, this is a game they wouldn't have won in previous years.
Correct.
And now, this right now, this last 2 to 3 week Angels team is what we've been seeing for 5 years?
Yeah, it's almost worst case scenario. I mean, 4-15 in our last 19 games.
Exactly.
And that's after starting, like you said, 9-5 in first place by ourselves.
Yep.
And again, like you said, that's only 14 games in, but you're talking now we're 33 games in, and it has gone under. I mean, this team is just sunk to the depths of the sea right now. And this is much like what we've been watching, but the frustrating thing is we're used to seeing this baseball in August and September, when at least at that time, when things are just gone to hell in the handbasket, we're like, well, Fernando can get ready for his Denver Broncos, and I can get ready, see what the Seahawks are doing in preseason. But
this year you got people wanting to watch the XFL.
Yeah. Hey, what's the St. Louis Battlehawks up to?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, think about it. So let's take Zach Nett out of the equation because he's been the guy right now.
Yeah.
And he would be good on any team right now. But literally, you take Zach Neto off the equation, pretend he doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. and Mrs. Neto never got jiggy with it that night.
Oh.
So in this mythical world, okay, what other positive right now is there right now where we sit during this 2 or 3 week stretch? Yeah, he's been fun to watch. But like I said, besides Neto, Todd, why else are you tuning in right now?
Jeez, I don't know to see.
If you don't have a podcast, because I mean, obviously that's the answer. If you are a casual fan, you know what I mean? Saturday, you got a little bit of throwaway money. Maybe your boss gave you a bonus. The fiance and the kids want to go out. You don't have Disneyland money, but you have some throwaway cash. Are you really considering an Angels game right now?
It depends if there's a bobblehead or a fleece to give away, or if it's a Star Wars weekend.
What is it right now? The zip up quarter fleece?
Yeah, the quarter fleece, whatever the hell they're calling it.
Hey, I will say it looks cool. I will say that.
It does look nice, and I am going to that game for that reason. but it's just frustrating, man, because you don't want to, but then it's like it's baseball season. It's in your blood, Fernando. I know it is. The way you talk about baseball, it's like romanticizing the game because the game has romanticized you. And that's how I am with baseball too. I mean, you play semi-pro baseball. We played the Saturday or Sunday leagues and stuff like that. I played a little bit of minor league, and you played a little bit of minor league. It's sort of like, we love the game, and this is our team, and we want this team to be good. We know the law of averages, where you're going to have a bad stretch or two in the franchise's history, and you kind of move on, and you're like, okay, because as far as we can tell, like, and I'll just, go with it this way, like Seattle fans, I have a lot of Seattle friends, and they went 20 some odd years before they made the playoffs. But at least in some of those years, Fernando, they were competitive. They were really, really, really close, but they couldn't seal the deal, or they collapsed at the end. We're not even getting that, bro. We're not even getting some competitive baseball, and maybe they fall off right before September, and it's like, it's nail biting, because are they going to make it or are they not? And Seattle's come up like a game or two short a couple times. The Angels, I think, since 2015, they came up a couple games short. That's the closest they've been.
Yeah, 2015, they came down in the last game against the Texas Rangers, and then Josh Hamilton just killed it for us, man. I mean, he literally single-handedly kept us out of the playoffs. And since then, I mean, it's really been a nothing burger. And the Angels, the narrative I got tired of was year after year was, hey, man, the Angels have a competitive roster on paper. And you think about those like Billy Epler teams, like what? So 2017, the Angels were pretty close too. I think they missed the playoffs by like 5 games. That was the year where everything was clicking. And then they decided to get Justin Upton and like Brandon Phillips at the very end of the year to make that push. And I think that getting those two guys is what kind of killed it for him. And then in 18, you got Ohtani, you've re-signed Upton, you've got Zach Kozart. So, the Angels made moves, nothing happened. In 2019, you got Lord Bundy.
Oh my God, yes.
Here you got the Dark Knight and Trevor Cahill. You know what I mean? In 2020, you got Julio Teheran. You know what I mean? It's just like the Angels are always trying to do this stuff. It never makes sense, man. And it's just it's always something. How come we can never just sign a player, have them come over and be decent? Look at this here. You get Kevin Newman, who is an established major leaguer. This guy is a 260 career hitter. That's exactly what you need him to be. Not too much, not too crazy. This guy is going to hit 2 to 5 home runs a year. Great. Where is he right now? 31 at-bats, Todd. He's batting 161. No home runs, not even a solo shot. The Halo Honks are crying. They're shaking in their boots. They're clutching their pearls because this man hasn't hit a home run. It's just, it's terrible. This guy's a proven major leaguer, and he comes to Anaheim, and what happens? Johnny Washington, who knows? Tim Anderson, honestly, he hasn't been doing that bad. He's batting 200, but it's Tim Anderson. I expect no less from him. Who was the guy? Oh, Travis d'Arnaud. That was the name I wanted to bring up. Batting 238. His average is starting to get a little higher now.
I've noticed a few good hits with him lately.
Well, yeah, because you stopped listening to Johnny Washington. I forgot who had said, like, oh, yeah, they asked him, and he was like, yeah, I'm just going to go back to, like, what worked for me in, like, Atlanta, which is great. That's what they brought you here to do, man. They brought you here because you're a proven major leaguer. Mm-hmm. Angels have not had a consistent backup catcher since – who was our last good backup catcher?
God, I don't know of any good backup catcher other than, Jose Molina back in the day. I mean – geez, I'm looking at, because you got me curious about that 2018 team. That's the last time we won 80 games. Actually, was it 80? Let's see, that was 18. So and in 2017 and 18, we won 80 games. And I was just curious looking at the roster right there. We had a lineup of Maldonado, Pujols, Kinsler, Simmons, Valbuena, RIP, Justin Upton, Mike Trout, Cole Calhoun, and that girl up north. And then we had a bench of Fletcher, Cozart, Marte, Taylor Ward, Chris Young. Chris Young.
Forgot about Chris Young being an Angel.
Oh, my God. Yeah, what a team. What a team. That was the year Andrew Heaney was our magical starter.
Our ace.
Yeah, our ace. We had Jaime Vieira as a number 2, RIP Tyler Skaggs, Felix Pena, Garrett Richards. Wow.
Yeah, and if you go back even farther, you can get guys like Matt Shoemaker.
Yeah, Matt Shoemaker would have been a godsend for that team. But yeah, I mean, I know what you mean. Like, this team is just it's all or nothing. Home runs, RBIs, doubles, singles, those don't exist. I think we're last place in triples. Doubles, I think we're towards the bottom. I mean, it's pathetic. I mean, you have Mike Trout, I think, had 9 homers, 18 RBIs. And like last season, he was 10 home runs, 18 RBIs. And this year, you got Ohapi, 9 home runs, 14 RBIs. So nobody's getting on base. And the guy that we talked about this morning, Fernando, that really, really is disappointing me because I really wanted him to flourish this year is Joe Adell. It's got to be the time to pull the plug if he can't get it going anytime soon here.
Yeah. We were talking also off air about the love affair that people have with Perry Manassian. You had said that you've kind of liked Perry, but even you are kind of at the point now where you're kind of out on him.
Yeah.
I mean, the nice part about having a podcast is, I never have to like justify, no, I said this, no, I said that. Our words are forever. For every bad take, we get a good take here and there. I've never been a Perry guy, man. I just never have. I don't get it. Zach Neto was a great draft pick. Zach Neto is my current favorite Angel. Gets his uniform dirty. The guy cares. I mean, look at what happened with Scooble. I love that. Jeff Bates, friend of the show, the guy who hosts the Rangers show, asked me when I was watching his Twitter stream yesterday when I was at the Rangers game. I plugged an AirPod in and I was listening to what he was saying. And he asked me, hey, how do you feel about what happened with Zach Neto and Tarek Skubal? And I said, I love it, man. That's good for the game. It is, right? I see no issue with 2 young guys passionate. You know what I mean? There was no hatred there. There wasn't even any anger, right? Tarek Skubal even apologized on the mound to Zach Neto about it. He said, hey, my bad. Great. That is good for baseball. That's what kids want to see, right? The young kids who are growing up in the burbs, the young kid growing up in the hood. You know what? They see that and they're like, hey, baseball is fun. Baseball is exciting. You know what I mean? That stuff is what grows the game, right? The competitive nature of it. And that's what I love about Zach Neto. So all that to say, Perry Manassian, okay, so he had one good draft pick there. I might be in the minority. I still don't like Nolan Changeable. Has not earned my respect yet. Is he good on getting on base? Sure, great. Billy Beane would have loved him. Okay, he really hasn't proven on a major league scale for a full season that he has what it takes to be a consistent average hitter even. I'm not sold on him. His defense is pretty pitiful. He's not good defensively at all.
Yeah, and he's cost us a couple games already this season. So, that's frustrating because, I mean, like, look, the thing that it literally happened as this team started to struggle. I had a friend of mine that's much like you that referred to other GMs that the Angels have had, and he liked Epler too. He's an Epler guy, and he said he didn't like Perry. And I said, why? I was interested, and he said, well, think about it, man. The year we drafted 20 pitchers, he says, how many pitchers are left in the organization? I said 1, maybe 2. And then he said, yeah. He goes, that kind of drafting is like going to a horse race and betting on all the horses in that particular race. You're going to lose regardless, even though you think, hey, well, either way, odds are favored, I'm going to win. No, you're not. You put the same amount of money on every horse, you're going to lose. And
yeah,
that it made sense. I was like, you know what? You're right. That was probably the stupidest thing. I mean, even back then we were thinking we were so pitcher hungry. At least I was the only moron on this network that was like, well, hey, I think that's going to work because if you get about 7 or 8 of those guys to come out or even 4 of them to make the majors, you got something there.
And there were so many people, I mean, like who had said like, oh yeah, even if you hit on 2 or 3 of those guys, okay, but he hasn't even done that.
Yeah.
He hasn't even, I mean, who's the most successful guy out of those 20?
I can't name the dude, but I know they got a guy. He's either in Rocket City or in Salt Lake, and he's not even doing that great either. I think he's sporting like a 6.
Yeah, I mean, so Sam Bachman was the first round pick that year.
Yeah.
He hasn't really gotten to do it yet because of injuries.
We won't even know if he'll ever pitch. There's a chance his career might be over.
Yeah. Okay. Exactly. Kai Bush isn't here anymore because we still wish him the best. I mean, Chase Silseth is probably the most successful out of those guys, and
that's true.
This was what 2021 draft.
Yeah, and there was 4 guys that retired. And
Braden Olthoff is one of them. Yeah,
and 2 guys that refused to sign and wound up going to other organizations. So,
Exactly. So all this to say, out of all the people that he's drafted thus far, the most successful are Zach Neto and Ben Joyce. And look, I love Ben Joyce. Let's call it what it is. Great guy. Been on the show many times. As of right now, for any of you guys who watch WWE, Ben Joyce is very much like an Austin Theory type wrestler. Management loves him. The potential might be there, but he still hasn't proven that he has what it takes to consistently pitch at the major league level. And before you call me an idiot, he has the stuff. That's not what I'm saying. Does he have the health to do it? Because, guys, have we ever seen him pitch even like 10 straight outings without getting hurt? And that's not his fault. That's not his fault.
yeah. I think what's needed for him, and I hated saying it on the post game, but I'm just going to be straight up with everybody.
Don't say it.
Don't say it.
Don't say it.
I'm going to say it. TJ, you know, and here's the thing, Fernando. I believe that a TJ is needed to stop the inflammation.
I mean, Joe, not Tijuana, by the way.
Either one's going to be bad. But look, all I'm saying is that if he gets that surgery, I believe that when it is time for him to return, he'll come back, and it won't be better than ever. He'll be better than ever stat-wise, but not better than ever like torque-wise and mile per hour. I think he's going to lose a couple miles per hour off that fastball. He won't hit 105 anymore. He'll hit like 101, 102. I think he'll max out at that. He's going to lose a couple miles per hour, but that's okay because he does have that splinker, and he will probably develop another pitch in between. But if you get that out of the way, I believe, because right now as it stands, until he gets that surgery, I believe he's only a 1 game, 2 or 3 time a week pitcher. And if you're going to be a contender, you need a guy like that to pop out 2 or 3 appearances in a row if you're on a winning streak in front of a closer or as the closer. And I think he's going to be non-effective, even if he keeps it at 105 as a every other day kind of guy.
Yeah. So like I said, I like Ben Joyce. I like him a lot. Does he need to throw 105? No. Is it fun? Of course it is. But I don't know, man. Besides that, Perry really hasn't had a lot of good moves. He's got, like 95% of those have just been bad moves. There's going to be people who bring up the Logan O'Happy trade. Yeah, it was decent, but like I've said, honestly, I kind of wish we had Brandon Marsh right now. I can live off of with an average catcher. We really, really need a center fielder right now.
Can I ask you your honest opinion when it comes to Perry?
Sure.
When he makes any kind of move, whether it's off the scrap heap, whether it's a free agent, whether it's a trade, is it all him, or does he have to consult a team, or does he have to consult a team plus Artie, in your opinion?
I think that these last year or two, I think Artie's been a little bit more hands off, and let's just say he hasn't been. That's even more embarrassing. I think that the purse strings are tight, so I do think he has to work with a certain budget.
Okay.
Because Artie's not an idiot in the sense of the guy's a good businessman, right? Say what you want about the way he runs his team, but we all have to give the devil his due. The guy knows how to make money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at what's happening to the value of this team. But with that being said, he knows that the attendance numbers are going to be down, right? Whether he's an idiot or not, he surrounds himself with some people who know enough about business. So they're going to tell him, hey, Artie, man, attendance is going to be down. We should probably lower the payroll. Oh, okay, but we're not lowering the liquor budget, right, guys? So, the liquor keeps flowing, but the budget keeps going down. So with that being said, I think that Artie's been a little bit more hands-off this year. So I am a little more inclined. I think that this is what Perry thought was going to put the team on the right course. I think Perry legitimately thought this team was going to contend this year.
Okay. Because that was my thing. There is no transparency right here when it comes to who's doing what. I mean, you don't even see that on the team. So we're not even close to knowing what's going on in the front office. what's Carpino doing, who's running the show, because there was a call into AM 830 the other night. I was listening to it on the way home because we came from the game and I was on my way home to do the post game. And I
You weren't
was
listening to the Yummy Nut guy?
no, I wasn't listening to the Yummy Nut guy. That's a turnoff to most men. But he said Trent Rush goes, well, let's take a call. And he actually took a call, and the guy calls in and says, you know what? I don't blame the players on the field. I blame the front office. I don't think they're doing their job. I don't think that nobody's working hard up there. I think they don't know what they're doing. And boy, Trent Rush cut him off as usual. And he goes, hey, I know for a fact. How can you say that they're not working hard and want this team to win? They're doing everything they can to help this team to win. Those guys and gals work day and night. I'm like, oh, my God.
Yeah, it's always the same thing. Nobody wants to win more than Artie Moreno. Dude, I am so tired of that narrative. It's like, we know that's not true. It's like we have people on the inside too.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like, we know it's not true. There is so much about this team that I wish we can show you guys. I know why Trout gets hurt all the time. You know why Trout gets hurt all the time. Unfortunately, we can't say it. Why? Because hip is a thing. You know what I mean? Like, there is so much about this team that I wish you guys knew. The fact of the matter is this. Artie doesn't want to. He doesn't care. I'm not gonna say that he's not sitting there in his house, waking up in the morning, because we know he doesn't watch the games, and he's not like, oh darn it, we lost again. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure the guy wants to win, sure, because winning brings money, but like, I have no problem believing that in October, when these other teams are playing and the Angels are inevitably out, that he's not sitting in his Scottsdale mansion thinking to himself like, oh, I wish I was watching the Angels right now. No, he doesn't care.
Yeah, I mean, I think he thinks that there's a way to win on the cheap. And it used to be the award for cheapskate on the show when you finish a season and you got your team to a winning record. They give you like the cheapskate award. I would get that all the time because I'd gut the team. Because when I used to play the show all the time, the Angels are good. That's how long it's been where I actually finished a season. And I would go with other teams to help them to get better. But you know as well as I know, at least when the Padres threw the money out there the first time, long before Tatis, when they were getting all those free agents like Upton and others, right?
In 2015,
yeah, you could tell, maybe they weren't doing it the right way, but at least the owner and the general manager and the franchise was like, hey, we're going for it. We're trying to win. We're going to throw money at these free agents. Maybe it wasn't the right thing to do, but dude, you could see it. Other teams will show you by, hey, look at all these guys breaking out in spring or in the minor leagues. This team's going to be good next year. You could see it coming down the line. And when a team makes a splash in free agency, you're like, oh crap, like they're trying to contend. And that's good. That breeds confidence in the fan base. And then you're like, okay, I trust the owner. They got a plan. They don't have to come out there and tell you. They're showing you the plan. And we're not even seeing a plan because there is no plan, and they're not trying to show you physically either. And it's just,
yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, there isn't too much to say right now. I mean, that we haven't already said 1,000 times. That's the frustrating thing. Like, for once, I'd like to be talking about a different season. It was nice talking about the way the season started. It was nice to actually compliment the team for once. And for any of you people out there who are like, well, Halos in Infield isn't capable of being positive. No. We have 3 weeks of positive episodes out of almost all of us. You know what it's like? We are starving for winning baseball. You guys are starving for winning baseball. I am tired of the sack of monkey shit they keep dragging out there every single season. It's the same thing again and again. So I would love for there to be a change. We'll see if they're actually able to at least try something. I mean, we tweeted about it yesterday. How come the Rangers curb stomped the Mariners yesterday? They won like 8-1, 9-1. I was at the game. I should know. They curb stomped Seattle. They almost got swept, right? Because Seattle won the first 2 games, so they avoided the sweep. And the crazy thing is they scored most of those runs in the third inning. I think they scored like 6 of those runs. Guys, they did it with 2 outs. Situational hitting. They had runners, the bases loaded. And Adolis Garcia got like a single or whatever, driving like 2 runs. See, look, that's good baseball. That's what a good baseball player does. And I'm critical about Adolis Garcia all the time. The guy's like a 230, 240 hitter, very much like an Adam Dunn, very much what a Jorge Soler is. But he got the job done there. And what happened, Todd? What did the Rangers do?
Well, they wound up gutting their entire hitting squad, including their OC, the offensive coordinator, which became a thing lately. We have one named Tim Lakeler. So, that guy needs to go.
I want you to be abundantly obvious. Just be straight up with me. Do the Angels fire a member of the coaching staff by the end of May?
Oh, absolutely. They're absolutely. I mean, you cannot. Do I see them going another 4-15 in the next 20? No. But I can easily see them going like 7-10 or something like that, or 8-11, whatever.
I'll take that.
Yeah, I'll take it. But in those 19 games, Fernando, it's not going to change. They've said it abundantly clear in the post game shows, whether they're asked by a real reporter like Sam Blum or a little herky jerk dude. He comes out there and Ron Washington's like, we're going to stay the course. We're going to ride this thing out. Those players need to do this. It's like, no, you're giving them the wrong crap to work with.
Yeah, what was the stupid quote he said that like, oh, well, these guys are like major leaguers or whatever, and eventually it falls on deaf ears? Who the hell cares? Tell them to shut up. They don't have their phones anyway. What else are they doing? Tell them to listen up. Walk in the center of the clubhouse. Talk to them. You know what? Tell them the truth. You guys, this is unacceptable. We're losing games that we should at least be competitive in. How is it that it's a tie game in the bottom of the 9th, and then all of a sudden you look at the score and they lost, what was it, like 9-1 or whatever it was?
Yeah. I mean, make them run the track. I mean, I'm open to anything at this point. Like I'm open to anything.
Make them run to Disneyland and back.
Yeah, make them do the 5K run or around Anaheim Stadium and the Duck Stadium, or make them run the stands, the 400s and 500 steps.
I would puke by the end of it. From one side to the other, if you're walking up and down every one of those steps. Oh,
bro! 2 years ago, I was driving to my route and I drove by Anaheim Stadium, and it was like the Tough Enough people or whatever, and they were doing that or whatever they call that. They had a crazy outdoor thing, and you could just see people going up and down the 405. I was like, damn, that's tough, man.
Angel Stadium is tough also because like the stairs are so steep,
and especially small.
Yeah, they're like the steps are like extra high. They're like double the height of a normal stair.
Yep.
So man, I've almost fallen down a couple times. So I can only imagine people who, have a little more of a mobility issue, people who might be a little older. It's not a very accessible stadium for today's modern times.
They had to do every aisle of that upper deck, dude. Their calves were on fire by the time they got to the section 401 or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we were athletes growing up. I mean, I've done stairs too, but I can't imagine doing Angel Stadium.
No.
I get sick just going up. I don't get vertigo. Yeah. I'm not scared of heights, but Angel Stadium, if you're up enough, man, you feel super high up there. Like yesterday, I sat like in what my mom always calls with the chickens here in Texas. I mean, I was sitting almost as high up as you can get. Perfect seats, though. They had the roof open.
Yeah.
Breeze was coming in, and I was in the shade the whole game. On a Sunday afternoon game, when you're in the shade, chef's kiss. One of the best out there. I love Sunday day games when you're in the shade, Todd.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's why that section that we got in 260, man, it's nice. Only for the first 2.5, 3 innings, you're in the sun, and then the shade comes over, and you're good the rest of the way.
Yeah, I've sat there. I've sat there before. Yeah, great seats. All right, so let's real quick preview this Blue Jays series because we're going a little longer than we should here. Mm-hmm. Blue Jays are entering tomorrow at 16-18. Angels at 13-20. Both teams coming off an off day, right? I believe the Blue Jays didn't play.
Yeah, they didn't play tonight.
So the Blue Jays don't have an announced pitcher for Tuesday just yet, officially on the MLB app. Tyler Anderson, though, is taking the mound for us, 2-0 with a 2.67 ERA. 27 strikeouts. Tyler Anderson, I think, is probably the guy to beat right now in Anaheim. He's probably the guy who I want going up there to stop the bleeding. You feeling confident at all?
I like that. I like them to get the opening win. Although I think he gives up a home run to Springer. I think the Angels will win this one like 4-2.
Okay. Yeah, I got the Angels winning in this one too. Game 2, I'm a little more worried about. This is Wednesday. Jose Barrios, 1-1 with the 3.98 ERA, 36 strikeouts, versus Yusei Kikuchi, 0-4 with the 4.21 ERA, 33 strikeouts. Now, Yusei Kikuchi has not gotten to pitch a lot of games here in Anaheim. But unfortunately, I got Yusei Kikuchi having to wait a little longer for that first win.
I agree. Barrios is one of those pitchers that, when he pitched with the Twins prior, he was either really good against the Angels, and like exceptionally good, or really bad. And he's been like that with the Blue Jays, but I have a feeling with Kikuchi's luck, I am also going to chalk a loss to the Angels on this one.
Yeah, and he hasn't been necessarily bad. He hasn't been necessarily great. But he's given the Angels a chance to pitch more often than he hasn't.
Yeah.
He's given the team a chance to win more often than not, is the words I was looking for. Sorry.
He's only had one non-quality start.
Yeah, exactly. As I've said before, I do hate that stat because, like you said, almost all non-quality starts almost, and his ERA is 4.21. But
Correct.
that's what quality starts do.
Yep,
you know what I mean? If you're giving up 3 runs, your ERA is in the 4 to the 5s. So I've always thought that was a silly stat. Okay, so the last game, Chris Bassett 2-2 with the 2.95 ERA versus Jose Soriano, who's 2-4 with the 3.83 ERA.
I want to go Soriano so bad. I really do, but I think the Angels offense fails him again. As you know, Bassett, when he pitched in Oakland, I mean, we couldn't hit him. I mean, I think he beat Ohtani a couple times too when Ohtani wasn't hurt for the 600th time, like as a pitcher. He was just phenomenal. I don't understand. The Angels can't hit that dude, and I don't think it's going to change.
Yeah, I think Jose Soriano is going to continue to trend in the right direction. I don't think he'll pitch as well as he did the previous start, where he shut out the Tigers in his 6 innings. I think we still get about 5 or 6 out of Jose Soriano. I think we're talking about 2 or 3 runs. So I don't think he's going to get lit up. I think he is going to look sharp. The offense hasn't given me any reason to believe in them just yet. I think Chris Bassett does outduel Jose Soriano. And I totally forgot about Chris Bassett's time with Oakland. It's just hard to imagine the Angels winning anything right now, unfortunately. And that's not me being negative. It's just we call it as we see it, right? By the fans, for the fans. And as of right now, this is a team that is not stepping into the batter's box confident. This is not a team that's stepping into the batter's box prepared. And I get it. It's by design. Ron Washington felt that the Angels were seeing too much and they were having too much information thrown at them. Guys, this is their job, Ron. You know what happens when Todd is delivering for his job? They give him all the information for that delivery, right? They give you the address, they give you the contact number, and hell, if you can't find it, you can probably call a coworker who's been there before. They can tell you, hey, the delivery door is back here. You know what I mean? There's no tool that you don't have to complete the task at your job. These guys are professionals. They're not doing this for fun. This isn't Sunday League or high school where you're having to balance life or school. This is their job. They get paid a lot of money. So you shut your ass up. You give them all the information. I want to know how many times this guy shook it as he wiped his wang on the urinal, okay? I want to know how many times that pitcher wiped his ass when he pooped. You know what I mean? You give me everything. So I am well prepared in the box.
Well, let me give you a quick stat because I went to Stat Muse on this one. Chris Bassett,
You're not allowed to use stats, Todd.
I'm using it because I'm learning since I'm stupid. I was called stupid by another podcast. They're all, you stupid head, you darn stupid head.
Yeah.
Me and my Sunday church league are going to beat your team.
You just made the list, Todd.
As he puts lipstick on. But no, Chris Bassett, dude, since he became a starter with Oakland way back when the Oakland was a thing, all the way up until his 2 starts against the Angels as a Blue Jay, He has a career ERA of 3.15, and he's 7-1 in 10 starts.
There you go.
Not good.
Yeah. Is that kind of crazy for you to think that probably by the time your son's like high school age, he's not going to refer to them as Oakland anymore, and he probably won't even remember them playing in Oakland much? That kind of a weird thought for you?
It is kind of a weird thought. He's going to be like, dude, that Vegas team's got Nashville this week.
Yeah, and like your grandkids are going to be like, yeah, sure, Grandpa. There was never a team in Oakland.
Yeah, I'll be like, dude, they used to play in the Coliseum. The Raiders were there. Golden State used to be. No, they've been in Frisco. Oh, come on.
Yeah, they're going to be like, all right, old man, let's get you to bed. Yeah. No, I promise, I swear.
Take your pills, Pops.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a weird thought. There's going to be a whole generation of kids that grew up. Oh, no, they came from Sacramento. They relocated from there.
Yeah, exactly.
No, they used to play in Oakland, I promise. Yeah, that's crazy. Well, Chris Bassett's still probably going to find a way to show. We just always have these vices. We always do. Angels always have their kryptonites, whether it's Mark Canha. All my homies hate Mark Canha, even to this day.
Mm-hmm.
It was Mike Napoli before that. Mark Trumbo when he was on the Orioles.
Who was the who was the other guy that he's on the Giants now? He's their third baseman.
Matt Chapman.
Yeah, I hate Chapman too when his days in Oakland.
There's a lot of guys. Martin Maldonado, every time he played us when he was in Houston, all of a sudden turned into freaking the catcher from Angels in the outfield who was smashing bats.
Yeah.
Runs. Yeah, we can probably do a whole off-season episode where we talk about Angels killers. Maybe that's an idea.
That is an idea, dude. That is a great idea because I could list you like a dozen off of Oakland alone.
Yeah, let's dive into the deep stats and talk about all the Angels killers. But that's what I've got, man.
I'm with you on that. I think I'm out on everything. We did the Toronto series. We recapped the Detroit disaster. And then I guess we're moving on, and we'll see if we can salvage some of this homestand. Because we still got a lot of baseball left to be played on this homestand, and the season starts tomorrow.
Yeah, I was trying to find that soundbite. I couldn't.
Oh,
pretty good. I want balls and John Stamos.
Oh, it's this one.
We got a lot of baseball left to be played, and the season starts tonight.
There you go.
Here we go. So get off my phone lines. Let it go with fellowship. Gotta go. Man, I've heard that soundbite so many times. Anyone who's listening to the postgame show has. By the way, speaking of the postgame show, make sure you tune in to this guy, not the Yummy Nut guy.
Well, let's just check in on him and see how he's doing. Because I know they like to talk a lot of baseball over there.
What? What's going on, everybody? My name is Gavin Carlson, former credentialed journalist in the LA area. How about a yummy tasting nut?
No.
Oh, I like that sound clip. That one always gets a smile out of me, at least.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just funny. But yeah, guys, make sure you check all of our post-game shows. Todd does a good job with those. Make sure you listen to all of our fellow cast members' podcasts, the Halo Joe Show, the Dominic Minor League Report, the James Around the League Game Show with Big Game James.
As the world turns, baby.
I definitely think that James has the best entrance video of all of us. I like his Big Game James. Boop, 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 boop. A little dubstep.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But right. Yeah, man, that's all I got, guys. 5-star reviews, please. Tell your friends, tell your foes, tell everybody about Halos in the Infield. Hell, tell the gigolos Halos in the Infield. Until next time, folks. Have a
Lonestar Halo.